It was a bright morning in New York City, yet inside the towering glass building of Harrington Enterprises, the atmosphere was heavy with silence and sadness. Behind the largest office window sat a man who had everything: wealth, fame, and power, but had lost the only thing that made life worth living: hope. Ethan Harrington, once known as the most dynamic and daring billionaire of his generation, sat motionless in a sleek black wheelchair, staring at his own reflection in the glass. His legs, once capable of climbing mountains and running marathons, had been paralyzed for 3 long years after a devastating car crash that claimed his fiancée's life. Every morning, his assistant would roll him to the window so he could look at the world he used to rule. But in truth, Ethan wasn't looking at the city. He was watching life move on without him. People walked, cars moved, the wind carried laughter, and he remained still, a prisoner in his own body. The pain wasn't just physical, it was the unbearable silence that came after everyone stopped believing he'd ever walk again. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of miracles that hide in ordinary moments, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us share more inspiring stories like this one. For years, Ethan had tried everything, from top medical experts to spiritual healers, from experimental surgeries to robotic therapy suits. Nothing worked. His billions could buy technology and attention, but not healing. People pitied him, some admired him, but none truly saw him anymore. Behind the press conferences and forced smiles, Ethan was slowly fading into numbness. The world called him a hero for surviving. He called himself a burden, but destiny, as strange as it often is, hides miracles in the most unexpected places. And Ethan's miracle came in the form of a young black street artist named Amara. Amara was 22, full of fire and imagination. Her world was color and motion. She painted murals across abandoned buildings and park walls, breathing life into gray corners of the city. But life had not been kind to her. She'd grown up in poverty, raised by her grandmother who sold herbs and old potions at a small market stall. Amara believed in energy, in unseen forces, in love as medicine. When her grandmother died, she left behind a single curious bottle, a small glass vial filled with shimmering blue liquid, sealed with an old note: "When hope fades, spray life." Amara didn't know what it meant, but she carried it everywhere, a charm against her own heartbreak. One cloudy afternoon, while painting near Central Park, Amara saw a familiar black car stop by the street. From it emerged a man in a wheelchair, escorted by a nurse. His face was pale, but his eyes had the quiet ache of someone who'd forgotten what sunlight felt like. She recognized him immediately. Ethan Harrington, the billionaire everyone talked about. She'd seen his story on TV, the tragedy that took his legs and his joy. Something stirred inside her. As he sat watching her paint, she felt a sudden rush of empathy, as if her grandmother's words whispered through the wind. "Spray life where pain has lived too long." The next day, she painted there again. And again the same car came. Ethan seemed curious about her colors, the way her hands moved freely, the way she smiled as if pain had never existed. Slowly, over days, he started talking. Not much, but enough to listen to her stories. She told him about her art, her grandmother's sayings, and the belief that colors could heal what medicine could not. He would laugh softly, a sound he hadn't made in years. But inside, something fragile began to move: hope. Amara started painting a mural just for him. It was called "The Man Who Forgot the Sky." It showed a figure trapped in gray shadows while a bright blue light reached down to him. Ethan would come every day, watching her layer the sky with shades of life. But on the day she was finishing, rain poured unexpectedly. The mural began to wash away. Amara ran to cover it, but the colors bled into each other, forming a strange swirl of blue and silver, exactly like the liquid in her grandmother's vial. Without thinking, she pulled the vial out. It glowed faintly under the rain. Ethan watched curiously as she smiled at him through the storm. "Maybe this was meant for you," she said quietly, then sprayed the mysterious liquid into the air around him. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a strange warmth spread through the space between them. The air shimmered, the smell of fresh rain filled the street, and Ethan suddenly gasped. His fingers twitched. His legs, numb for 3 years, tingled violently, as if fire and ice ran through his veins. His nurse rushed forward, panicking, but Ethan stopped him. Tears filled his eyes. He felt his toes. For the first time in years, he felt. Days passed, and doctors couldn't explain it. Scans showed neural activity returning where none should exist. Ethan's therapy sessions turned miraculous. His muscles, once dead, began responding. He was walking, slowly, shakily, but walking. The world called it a medical phenomenon. Ethan called it Amara. He tried to find her, but she'd disappeared after that rainy day. No address, no contact, nothing. She'd simply vanished. The mural was gone too, washed away completely. But he never forgot her words. Spray life where pain has lived too long. Months later, during a charity art event in Harlem, Ethan spotted a familiar painting, a mural of the same blue sky he'd seen in Central Park. Beneath it was a small signature, a M. He followed the trail until he found her, standing near a group of children, teaching them how to paint. When Amara saw him, standing tall, no wheelchair, no nurse, her eyes widened in disbelief. He smiled, tears forming instantly. "You gave me my life back," he said softly. "No," she replied. "You just remembered how to believe again." From that moment, they became inseparable friends. Ethan funded art programs for underprivileged kids, while Amara used her gift to bring healing through color. Together, they traveled to hospitals, orphanages, and forgotten towns, painting walls, spraying the mysterious liquid her grandmother had left, and watching broken hearts rediscover light. But life had one more lesson in store. One evening, while painting a mural in a small village in Kenya, Amara fell ill. Her body weakened rapidly, and within weeks, doctors diagnosed her with an aggressive illness that left no cure. Ethan was shattered. He'd spent his fortune searching for every possible treatment, but this time the miracle wouldn't come from science or money. Amara, lying weak in her hospital bed, held his hand and whispered, "Don't cry for me. I sprayed life for others. My time was borrowed from kindness itself." The night before she passed, she asked him to bring the vial. It still had a few drops left. "Use this not for healing, but for love," she said. "Spray it where someone needs to feel alive again." When she closed her eyes for the last time, Ethan felt the same warmth that he had felt that rainy day. But this time, it wasn't his legs that came alive. It was his heart. In the months that followed, Ethan continued her work. He founded the Amara Foundation, using art to heal communities worldwide. He taught people to believe in unseen miracles, in small acts of kindness that change destinies. Everywhere he went, he carried the empty vial around his neck, not as magic, but as a reminder that sometimes the greatest transformations begin with compassion. 1 year later, on the anniversary of her death, Ethan stood before the completed mural she had designed but never finished. It showed 2 figures standing beneath a blue sky, one holding a spray bottle, the other reaching out to the light. As he looked closer, he noticed something miraculous. The paint shimmered faintly, as though the wall was alive. And then, as the sun hit the mural, a faint scent of the mysterious blue liquid filled the air once more. Ethan smiled through tears, whispering, "You're still here." He raised his hand, touching the wall gently. "And I'll keep spraying life, just like you taught me." He turned to the crowd that had gathered, children, artists, families, people from all walks of life, and spoke from his heart. Miracles don't always come in grand gestures or shining lights. Sometimes they come in the form of a stranger who believes in you when you've stopped believing in yourself. If you've ever been broken, remember, life always finds a way to paint over the cracks. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Help us spread stories that remind the world of hope, healing, and the power of second chances. Before we end, I have a small request. Comment below, EBR3 or Spray Life, if you believe that kindness can make the impossible happen. And remember, even when all color fades, love will always paint it back.